Hello everybody, this is Napa Fan here, and we are here at the Watkins Glen International. I have been looking forward to this weekend for so long, but it's finally here. It is the Lake Effect Ice Cream Super Weekend, and we are going to have 6 races, 2 today, 2 tomorrow on Friday, and 2 on Saturday. And of course, after we're done here with qualifying in the IndyCar Series and in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series, I should say. Turkey Truck Series doesn't quite start until September. But when we're done with qualifying today, you guys are going to be seeing what will end up being the finale race in the Hers Elimination Series and the Watkins Glen Grand Prix in the Rockstar Pro Series. And then tomorrow, you're going to see the Craftsman Throwback Series finale here from Watkins Glen. And then the first race of these guys, the Duel at the Glen race number 1. And with the championship battle here in the Haas IndyCar Series as tight as it is, or maybe not as tight as it is, but it's very, very interesting. You are definitely going to want to watch both races this weekend for the Haas IndyCar Series. Yes, I said both races. We're going to have one tomorrow. That's going to be at about 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And then Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, it's the second race. And it is definitely going to be a huge weekend for these guys, because after this weekend, after we get these 2 races from Watkins Glen done, it is only 1 race left 2 weeks from now at Pocono to determine the champion in the Haas IndyCar Series, and it's going to be interesting to see who gets it done. And we were really surprised when we saw the points after last week's race from Canadian Tire here for these guys. Justin Zaidel is still the points leader after he finished second at Canadian Tire, 347 points towards the championship. But the guy who won that race, we didn't even have on our radar for the championship. He's now second in the points, 47 points behind. He is the only driver who can surpass Justin Zaidel in the points in the first race this weekend. You have Richard Kingart 60 points behind after he wrecked at the Canadian Tire last week. Cody Smart also wrecked or had an issue in that race, 61 points behind. Christopher Alpheby, he fell behind a little bit. He actually rallied from his starting position at Canadian Tire, 65 points behind, and Jonathan King also did a decent job as well, but he's now 67 points behind. The thing is, pretty much everyone finished behind Justin Zaidel, except for Christian Vargas. We will be doing qualifying for the first race of the Duel at the Glen, but the second race is going to be done by a random draw, so that's going to get very interesting there. Justin Zaidel's out here in number 10, and this is a very critical qualifying session because Zaidel had the benefit of a 7th place starting position at the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, and because of that, he was able to go to 2nd place with all the mistakes everyone ahead of him were making. But right now, Watkins Glen, definitely another very, very treacherous racetrack. I mean, that last turn, turn 11, probably one of the most infamous corners in all of Napa Fan. We've seen so much happen there in so many different series, and these guys are definitely going to have to watch out for that final corner right there, because it could definitely become an issue for some guys in both races and in every race we're going to have during this Lake Effect Ice Cream Super Weekend. And of course, the cherry on the top of it is the Lake Effect Ice Cream 400K in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series, Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. But I'm so looking forward to this weekend. This is my favorite road course in all of NR 2003, and you guys are going to be treated very well with a lot of great races here from the Glen. So each race in the Haas IndyCar Series, both Race 1 and Race 2, will be 12 laps long. There will be no pit stops either, mainly because the pit road is a little tight, and we should definitely see an interesting race because of that, because these guys are going to have to make all the moves on the racetrack. So this is going to get interesting here for both races, because if you don't get a good starting position, you can't play strategy to get ahead of anybody. It will not be like that at Pocono. Pocono will have pit stops, but we didn't want an issue on the pit lane affecting the championship here at Watkins Glen. So that's why both races are going to be pit stop free. Fastest guy right now, number 19 of Igor Barreto. Julio Cesar second, and Christian Vargas is third. And we'll take a look and see where Justin Zeidel currently sits in the number 10 machine. There he is, crossing the line here. We'll see if he gets a good lap. We'll wait until he crosses the line, and he just went to the top position! Oh my goodness. Under a minute 27 for Justin Zeidel, and you gotta think, too, this is going to be a bonus point towards the championship. It only counts for the first race. The second race is a true random draw, even though I know we've been doing that for a lot of races this season, but pretty much every race has true qualifying. This second race that we're going to have Saturday is not, and you don't get a bonus point for winning the pole there, but Justin Zeidel, if he gets the fastest time here, which he's tied right now with Nathan Faden, but he wins the tiebreaker because he has more points than Faden, which means he will get the bonus point towards the championship. But he's not going to get it quite yet. Julio Caesar to the top of the board in the number 32, and now Marty Johnson. Johnson has had a very rough season. Wrecked out last week at Canadian Tire. That did not work out well for him at all. It's now, oh, look at that, Kinghart just went to third, and Richard Kinghart's a guy who had a good run going for him, or a decent run at least going for him at Canadian Tire last week, and wrecked out. So he comes into this thing 60 behind Zeidel. Just have to see if he plays the strategy to his liking, because he's right now third. That could really work out for him in the race. Christian Vargas is 10th fastest at the moment. That's a pretty decent starting position here at Watkins Glen. I say anybody in the top 10 is a really good shot at winning the race. Well, Noah Clifton, how about him? Going to the top of the board in the number 27 machine. Great run for Noah Clifton. That puts Zeidel back to 9th. Agar Barreto just went back to the top of the board, and Zeidel has fallen all the way back to the 9th position. A lot of guys. Christopher Alfie just went to 3rd. There's a championship contender with a really good run. And Alpha comes into this thing only 65 points behind, and you gotta think, as long as they're within, let's say here, 50 points, actually 52, is the most points you can be behind somebody and tie with them in the next race. So as long as you're not 52 points behind heading into Pocono, you still have a chance at winning the championship. Actually, technically it's 53 if you want to count a point for winning the pole, and the 3 bonus points for winning the race, and the 50 for winning the race, which is 54 points in an event. And the lowest you can get in an event is 1 point, which is last place, 30th place without leading any laps or winning the pole. So if that's the case, 53 points is the maximum amount of points you can be behind somebody and still be in championship contention heading into the final race of the season. Dion Moon to the top of the board in the number 22. It would really be something if he won his 3rd race of the season, and all 3 of those wins be his only top 10 finishes of the season. Because so far, his 2 wins at Richmond and Chicagoland are his only top 10s of the season. Might get a bonus point towards the championship right there. Christopher Alphaby, however, is 2nd fastest, and now Zeidel is 11th. Vargas is 15th. Vargas is the only driver who can surpass Zeidel in points in the first race. Jonathan King is 16th. Richard Kinghart is the top of the board guy. That's a really odd way of saying the provisional pole sitter, but he just went back to the top of the board. Richard Kinghart is mad about what happened last week, and he wants to get every point he possibly can on Justin Zeidel, and if he wins the pole, there's 1 point out of the way. He would be 59 points behind. And Christopher Alfie still 3rd. That's a very good starting position for the first race. Take a look and see. Got Zeidel still in 11th. Vargas still 15th, and King still 16th. Cody Smart's the other guy. He's 20th right now. Not exactly where you want to be if you're or Cody Smart, I should say. He's 61 points behind, but those are the 6 guys we're watching out. 6 guys who still realistically have a good chance at winning the Haas IndyCar Series championship. Wasn't like this last year. Nicholas Amadeo just blew away the field. after he won the Indianapolis 250. Just think if the Indy 250 was a double points race. Christian Vargas would be the points leader right now. I think. Yeah, you know what? He might not be. I don't think he still would be, but Vargas has definitely been doing a great job this season, and we weren't even aware of it until he won that race last week, and all of a sudden second, the points 47 behind, but you know, he could still surpass Seidel, and as long as he finishes ahead of Seidel, he'll be within a race of Justin Seidel heading into race 2 here at Watkins Glen. So we'll have to see how that works out for the driver of the number 6 machine, Smith Peterson. Right now, 16th fastest. Not exactly where you want to be here at Watkins Glen, but Richard Kingart is exactly where he wants to be. And the thing about Kingart, he's the only other guy really that's been able to surpass Seidel in the points this season, but lately it's been slipping up a little bit for Kingart. Kingart coming in 60 points behind. That's probably the biggest gap he has had all season. But he is ready to bridge that gap and maybe even win the championship. Only 3 races remain, but if Seidel has an issue tomorrow in the first race, we could really see an interesting race 2 and a very interesting finale at Pocono. And we don't know what that's going to be like. It'll be 40 laps at Pocono 2 weeks from now, so that's going to be a fun one there, and it's going to be even more fun because we're going to the real-life Pocono race the day after. It's going to be a great weekend for the Haas IndyCar Series coming up here very shortly. Of course, this is going to be a great weekend for the Haas IndyCar Series. Who am I kidding? And Richard Kingart is going to lead us off tomorrow for the first 12-lap event here from Watkins Glen and the duel at the Glen. Remember, we got 2 races this weekend. Got one tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern, and then Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern. The Saturday morning race will be done by random draw, and the pole sitter will not get a point towards the championship because it's a true random draw. And like I mentioned, other races we have been doing quote-unquote random draws, but those still technically count as actual qualifying. For this, they're not going to technically have time to qualify for that 11 a.m. race on Saturday, so it's just a random draw for that 11 a.m. race. But Richard Kingart with the pole, so now he's only 59 points behind Justin Seidel coming into this race, so every point matters for these guys, and Kingart just got one right there. Seidel's going to be starting 11th, Vargas in 17th, Jonathan King in 18th. That was not good for those guys, but Alphabet in 3rd and Cody Smart 22nd down there. So really only 2 guys who really got a good run here in this session was Kingart and Alphabet. Other than that, everyone else kind of deep in the field here, and Seidel's got the best shot at kind of getting out of that deep hole, but not really a deep hole for him, but if you look at what I'm saying there, Seidel's not really up front either, so he could easily fall back and have an issue in tomorrow's first race. So we'll have to see how it all goes down. Let's go ahead and get to Chick-fil-A Cup Series qualifying here from Watkins Glen. Qualifying session for the Lake Effect Ice Cream 400. Race number 22 of the season in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. Congratulations to Richard King on his pole position. We're going to have the first race tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern right here in AppFan. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys later. Hello once again from the Watkins Glen International, and we are here to qualify for the Lake Effect Ice Cream 400K. Of course, Richard Kingart just won the pole for the IndyCar race tomorrow. That will be at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Friday night. This race here for the Chick-fil-A Cup Series will be 1 p.m. Eastern Time, right here from the Watkins Glen International. It's going to be the main event of the Lake Effect Ice Cream Super Weekend. It is the Lake Effect Ice Cream 400K. The second and final road course race of the season for the Chick-fil-A Cup Series, and quite possibly the best road course in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. It's only going to be the 3rd time we've been to this version of the Watkins Glen International, but we did use the short version in season number 1 and season number 3. Warren Henniger and Max Neuwirth, the respective winners of those races. Dane Amman and Luke Rainey have won the 2 times we've come here with the boot. None of those drivers are in this event this year, so we're going to have a first-time Watkins Glen winner Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern. We got a couple days until we get there, but we will get there sooner rather than later, because 2 days does not take too long anymore, and it'll be fun watching all the races this weekend here. Like I mentioned, Hers Elimination Series and Rockstar Pro Series, they get their races in later on tonight, tomorrow. Craftsman Throwback Series and their finale race. I just simply don't have the time for the series anymore, unfortunately, and probably best to just go ahead and end it, but still have an official finale for it. And then, of course, the first of 2 dual races in the Haas IndyCar Series tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern. Then the first race Saturday will be the second IndyCar race. And then the crown jewel of the whole weekend, I guess you can say, the Lake Effect Ice Cream 400K, 1 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. And that's what these guys are qualifying for right here. The qualifying session, the uncharted qualifying session. Top 2 drivers make it on. And right now, Christian Russell and Nick Smith on their first laps. So an 11-turn road course, we skip the chicane, we enter the boot of the racetrack. This right here, the carousel, is turn number 5 officially. And you enter turn number 6. Turn number 6 goes right into the boot right here. This could be a very treacherous corner as you're going downhill, very high speed. Sometimes these guys overshoot it. A very good passing area is turn number 7. And then turn number 8 is also a pretty good passing area, but you go back up the hill from there, and sometimes you can't make it stick on the inside. Turn number 9 usually goes to the left side advantage. Sometimes the outside lane can stay on the outside, however, and stay alongside some people, but turn 9 is not a good passing area. And neither really is turn 10 or turn 11. Of course, turn 11, the final corner, they tend to overshoot that corner and hit the outside wall. So, always got to watch out for that when you come here to the Watkins Glen International. And we might see out of some of these guys here in this qualifying session. Christian Russell about to complete his first lap under full speed. Nick Smith right behind him. And we were hitting about 120s in the IndyCar Series, 144s here for the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. Of course, these guys go much slower around this place than the IndyCars, but this race is going to be longer than one of the IndyCar races. Of course, both races for the IndyCar Series are going to be 12 laps long, and this race is going to be 15 laps long, and with pit stops, and Zachary DeLello lost it. And with that, he's probably not going to advance on. Julio Cesar a little wide through the corner there. That might slow him down. Angel Oliveira a little wide as well. Stephen Thompson in the number 97 here. Oliveira up to second. Thompson's going to go to the top of the board. So it's now Thompson and Christian Russell, the 2 drivers who would make it in. Colton Yeo smashed the outside wall, and he is going to not get a good time. Daniel Voiles and Zachary DeLello. 2 guys who have failed to get a time in. As a matter of fact, I think DeLello is out there on his lap right here. And he's actually yet to complete one, and he did not get a good start in his lap, and Voiles just wrecked it off the corner. A very treacherous place here, the Watkins Glen International, and you see right there what can happen off that final corner. These guys a little bit loose there. They need to get the rubber down before these guys are able to get through it without any incident. Because we do have the rubber on there from the IndyCar qualifying session, but they, of course, use a different compound. I'm making stuff up right now, alright? I have the strength set to 104. It's a little too high. We're going to set it back down to 103 for the race and for regular qualifying. Stop making stuff up like that. Christian Russell back to the top of the board. Great run there for him. Under a minute 44. Number 71 could not beat Stephen Thompson's time. I would not expect the 67 to get a good time here because he did hit the outside wall that last run around. He's actually just going to come straight down the pit lane. Julio Cesar, however, might have a shot. And he's going to go to second. Caesar's going to get it right there. He's going to push Stephen Thompson outside the top 2. Angel Oliveira not able to advance on. And Stephen Thompson, he smashed the outside walls. He was coming to complete his second lap, and he's not going to advance on. So Christian Russell and the number 62, along with the number 10 machine of Julio Cesar, the 2 drivers advancing on to the Lake Effect Ice Cream 400K. They will join the other 40 full-time drivers when we get to pole qualifying here from Watkins Glen. Oh, come on. You gotta put 30 more seconds on the clock for me. I'm ready to finish this thing up. It's not like anyone's gonna cross the line here. I don't know if they're going to give another lap here to Nick Smith. They might, so it's not actually official quite yet, but Nick Smith is not going to cross the line in time. And the clock will definitely run out here for the official time. So it will be Christian Russell and Julio Cesar heading on to race Saturday afternoon in the Lake Effect Ice Cream 400K here from Watkins Glen. And Russell and Cesar going to be joining the rest of the field. Those two guys have been in quite a few races so far this season, especially Christian Russell as of late. Russell's been getting in a lot of races of late in that number 62 machine, and I would expect him to possibly do something here, as he's going to have that IndyCar experience just a little while ago, and in both races, he's going to be doing something every day here at Watkins Glen, so we'll have to see what he can do in qualifying. Coming right up here from Watkins Glen, Lake Effect Ice Cream 400K qualifying session. Let's see who wins the pole here on the second and final road course of the season. And here we go, ready to set the starting lineup. This is going to be interesting because where you start on these road courses means so much to where you finish. Of course, Watkins Glen, a little bit of a different story. You can move your way up a few positions, but if you're not starting probably top 15, you're probably not going to win the race, only unless you pull off a very interesting strategy. So it's going to be a fun race, Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern. Right now, we're going to set the starting lineup here and see who's going to lead the field of the green flag for the Lake Effect Ice Cream 400K. Christian Russell, the first guy out again. Worked out pretty well for him last time around in the uncharted qualifying session. And he's going to do it again right here. 06 Alexander Rowe. It's been a very long time since Alexander Rowe has won anything on NapaFan. We'll have to see if he can pull something off here. Of course, last year, the top two finishers in this race were the last two drivers in points heading into this event. So we'll have to see if that spells good news for Carter Friesen and whoever's 39th in points, because I can't remember who's that deep in points. But speaking of points, Nathan Baird, 71-point lead on Emily Anderson coming into this thing. I'll have to see where he ends up qualifying for this race. There's Julio Cesar in number 10. Patrick Smith, two-time winner this season right there. Number 6 machine, Fisher G. There's Josh Marzak, who almost won the All-Star race last week. That was a close one for him there, even getting eliminated. Almost got eliminated in that thing. But almost came through with the victory. His teammate Nathan Stapleton would come home with it. There's the Open winner from last week. That's a 39 of Riley Spurley. And there is Roger Ray in the number 24. Roger Ray is going for his first career Chick-fil-A Cup Series race victory. There is Nathan Stapleton, your All-Star race winner from last week. And such a good job there at Eldora to come home with the victory. And he will be driving something next season in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series season number 9. John Arndt in the 05. Michael Canto behind him right there. Of course, John Arndt will be returning to the Turkey Hill Truck Series this year, driving the 05 for at least the 4th straight season. There's Daniel McMillan in the number 75. White Quail in the 33 machine. Emily Anderson trying to close in on Nathan Baird in the points, but she actually wrecked out at Nashville 2 weeks ago, and that hurt her chances at getting a good time in. You actually see damage on number 5, so I don't know if she's going to get a good time in here. Mitchell Henderson, the number 25 machine. Matt Dalio in the 79. There's Zachary Fitzwater. Lucas Jacobson. Now, this car almost won this race last year when Blaine Keys drove it. Unfortunately, Blaine Keys overshot the final corner on the last lap of the race, and Luke Rainey was right behind him to take the win away. Justin Roberts there, Garrett Sonor, Tristan Allen. Tristan Allen trying to recover from the heartbreak that happened in Nashville. Was the leader when the caution came out, but he had to come down the pit lane. It gave the win to Seth Cole. I'll admit, that was probably one of the worst races of the season. The race itself wasn't that bad, but the racing wasn't, the race ending, I should say, was just terrible. It would have worked out a lot better if that caution did not come out. Tristan Allen overshot the corner just a little bit there. Matthew Phillips, winner from Kentucky 3 weeks ago. There's Nicholas Samadio. Ace Garcia's there. Here's Larvin Alonso. Andrew Ross. Seth Cole, our last winner here in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series, looking for his 3rd win of the season at his home racetrack. Pretty sure Seth Cole would like to be the first driver to win 3 races this season, and it happened at Watkins Glen. Of course, he's won at Michigan and Nashville so far this season. There's Julius Anderson, number 22 machine. Silas Orta, there's Nathan Baird, and Baird apparently has hit the outside wall just a little bit there. Only a couple of guys have done so here in qualifying, but these guys are having a lot more trouble than the IndyCar guys were. Of course, the IndyCar guys have a lot more grip. They go a lot faster around this place. As you can tell, they were going about 20 seconds faster around here than they were, than they are right now in these Chick-fil-A Cup Series machines. And with that, I don't know if Nathan Baird will get a good time in or not. There's Sebastian Kukulon, number 13. Fastest guy at the moment, and of course not everyone has clocked in a time yet, is Nathan Stapleton. But that is since changed. Wyatt Quayle going to the top of the board with Mitchell Henderson second. Then it's Stapleton, McMillan, John Arndt, Emily Anderson, Alexander Rowe, Matt Dallio to the top of the board in the 79. I really don't see these times standing, though. I think they're going to get faster as this session goes along. 34 of Josh Marzak is in the pit lane, and he did get a time in, but was not an official full lap time. And I think Tristan Allen also doing the same. Those guys hit the outside walls. They were coming off of turn number 11. That's the trouble spot here. See Sam Medea with damage in the number 48. He also did the same. Boy, a lot of guys are doing it here. We might have to tone it down another percentage as we hit to the race. Silas Orta now fastest in the number 88 machine. And there is the Lake Effect Ice Cream number 77 for Otter Island Motorsports, driven by Jesse Turner. Of course, Jesse Turner has one year before. It was actually not at the Boot racetrack. It was at the shorter version in the Dodge Throwback Series back in 2017. Led every lap in that one. Jesse Turner is currently qualified in the 33rd position. Not exactly where you want to be, but it looks like his race car is clean. So with that, we'll have to see if he can get a good lap in. Mark Davidson, one of those guys who's up there in the championship, or was up there at one point. He's probably over 100 points behind now because of how dominant Nathan Baird has been. But Davidson now with the fastest time. He's the only driver under a minute 44 at this point. Find Silas Orta, who is currently on the outside pole, and the outside pole might be one of the best positions to start here at Watkins Glen because you really get a very good arc through turn 1. The inside lane through turn 1 is one of the worst places to be, so it might work out pretty well for the driver of the number 88 machine. Of course, these guys continue to log laps in here at Watkins Glen. Would not be surprised if we got a fast time late in this session. I'm very intrigued there with Nathan Baird. That is not good for him. He's right now 41st. And I do not believe he's going to get a lap time in. Drivers who have not completed a full lap under speed include Trey Bartow, Tristan Allen, Nathan Baird, and Josh Marzak. Baird's going to get back out there. I don't know if he's going to have enough time. Yeah, he'll get enough time to complete a lap here, but he cannot make a mistake. Jesse Turner was unable to improve his lap time. It's looking like these tires are starting to wear on these guys. You do not want to start deep in the field here at Watkins Glen. It's going to be difficult to crawl yourself out of that hole. But for guys like Mark Davidson, Silas Orta, Ace Garcia with a good time there. Really haven't talked about him too much this season. Currently 3rd fastest. Julius Anderson, Patrick Smith, Matt Dallio's in 6th. Wyatt Quayle, Diego Yepez, John Arndt, Brad Stover. That's the top 10. And you're going to really see it right here. That outside lane is not where you want to be off the corner. Now, Roberts did a good job not hitting the wall there. I'm not seeing too many guys do it, but it's going to happen. That's just all there is to it. It's going to happen throughout the race tomorrow, and or not tomorrow, on Saturday, 2 days from now. Normally the race is going to be the next day, but not this week since we have a lot of races to do here at Watkins Glen this weekend. So Nathan Baird is a guy I'd like to watch out for here. I think he's coming around to start his lap. Currently the slowest guy on the grid. But he's got to clock in his time before the timer runs out, and if he can do so, he will get his time in. So we're going to follow with our points leader. I mean, if he finishes last at Watkins Glen, finishes last again at some point, we could see ourselves a very, very interesting championship scenario unfold here. And we got something very interesting going on back there. Yeah, we're going to have to knock it down another percent. Of course, everyone's gotten the time in, so it hasn't really affected that. But 3 guys have failed to get a full time. Actually, 2 guys, I should say. Bartow and Baird. Baird is here behind lap traffic. I really don't see him getting a good lap out of all this. Mark Davidson is still the fastest. This is probably going to be the last official time that they allow on the racetrack here. Nathan Baird in the number 40. I don't know if Trey Bartow's out there looking to get a faster time in or not. He is, so we'll have to see if he clocks in faster. We'll follow with the number 40 machine of Nathan Baird, and he's trying to make a pass on Cody Sill here, so I really don't think he's going to get a good starting position. So that's really going to shake things up in the championship, especially if he fails to get a good finish. And, you know, 2 bad finishes out of Nathan Baird, and we could have ourselves a very, very interesting fight for the championship. I mean, we almost think Nathan Baird is going to run away with this thing, but you got to think, the ratings are equal for everybody. And Nathan Baird could realistically finish outside the top 30 in all the next few races. It's very possible. Just as possible as you can finish in the top 10 all of the next few races here. Got 7 races left in the schedule. Watkins Glen, Rockingham, UK, Bristol. Trey Bartow moved his way up. Bartow getting 29th. And here's Nathan Baird with his time, and this will be it. You'll be the final driver to complete a full lap under speed here. Patrick Smith hitting the pit lane there. We're definitely going to tone it down for the race so we can get everybody in. And Nathan Baird did not improve, only to 38th. Okay, that was just weird right there. This has been a bit of a mess for these guys. We're still figuring out the strength, but we have our lineup set, and Mark Davidson will lead the field to the green flag Saturday for the Lake Effect Ice Cream 400K. And the clock should run out right here, and that should do it here from Watkins Glen. We will set the strength down just a little bit for you guys, so it is a real race, a good race for you guys. And of course, we're going to have a race later on with the Hers Elimination Series coming here for their finale race. Of course, with Hers Elimination Series, Craftsman Throwback Series, just simply don't want to cram the time in to do those. And you guys don't seem to care too much, so that's why we're going to go ahead and we're going to have proper finales for both series, but just cannot continue on. It's just way too much. I've overdone myself trying to get everybody in. I want everyone to have a shot at racing throughout the year since we're not doing as much, and that's why we started all those series, but we unfortunately could not continue them. But either way, that's how they line up right there. Nathan Baird at 38th, so that's going to really be interesting to see where he ends up finishing on Saturday for this race. And, you know, if he falls back enough in these races, these next 7 races, we could easily see somebody closing in on him in the points. So this could get very interesting in the championship if he finishes last on Saturday here at Watkins Glen. Either way, that's how they're gonna line up for the Lake Effect Ice Cream 400K. Mark Davidson with the pole position alongside Silas Orta. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in just a little while for the Hers Elimination Series from Watkins Glen, and then the Rockstar Pro Series here from Watkins Glen. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys later.